At CrossFit Lincoln, our passion is positively impacting and changing lives by creating a strong, brave, healthy community through education. We talk about nutrition, fitness, mindset, and more. From the RoRoFlix studio, I'm Aaron Perkypile with Phil Kniep, Paul Konarski, and Emily Breedy. Well, welcome everybody to CrossFit Lincoln Connections. I'm Aaron Perkypile, standing here with Emily Breedy and Paul Konarski, two of my favorite people in the world. And that sounded really, I hope that sounded genuine because it's true. It's true. I like who I work with. Emily, we're going to start with you. Icebreaker question.
Let's do it.
What is a good quality of a best friend?
Ooh. They have to have so many, but I would say a good one is showing up, when you need them, whether it's to play a game or whether to talk or, they're just there for you.
What if they show up when you don't need them? Is that okay too?
Well, maybe they know that I need them, but I don't know that I need them.
Oh, okay. I like it. Paul, same question. What's a good quality of a best friend?
A good listener, I think.
Okay.
Aaron, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
What do you think would be a good quality in a best friend?
Boundaries.
Ooh, but wait, you have boundaries for them or they have boundaries for you?
So in class today, I asked this question. It was the question of the day, and that was the first answer that I got of the morning.
What was boundaries?
Because they were like, this is really touchy-feely. Like, I don't know if we should, it seems really intrusive. So they answered boundaries. So that was pretty good.
I like it.
I like loyalty. I value loyalty in a friendship. So they have your back.
True.
Paul, other than your wife, who would you say your closest friend is?
I think it'd be one of these two guys. One of these two silly geese.
Is it one of Gooses?
Well, you have lots of...
Knock it off.
Can they be related?
Yeah.
Do you have
I
a
actually
favorite?
have a friend, and this occurred to me a couple weeks ago. There's this friend that I see, and we go off for walks and chat and stuff every, I don't know, it's probably like once a month, really. Anyway, I have a vague memory of this kid, this baby at the time, when we both were probably like, I don't know, 2 or 3, maybe 4. We were just tiny little guys. And anyway, so I'm going to say that one just because it's probably the oldest.
Yeah, nice.
So,
Emily, you got a best friend?
And it can't be my wife.
Right. can't be your life partner.
Man, I have a bunch that fill different roles. I don't know if there's anyone that fills like a specific role. Yeah, my good friend Karina, she just moved away, unfortunately.
What?
So she's still my best friend, but she's long distance best friend now. We'll see how long it lasts.
My buddy Donnie lives in Michigan, so we were gonna go see him over Thanksgiving. It didn't happen, but we're coming for you, Donnie. I'm gonna make you listen to this episode so you get that shout out there.
there you go.
What makes a bad friend, or someone that you would maybe not consider a friend?
I would say it's someone that is using you for something. Like, they don't actually want to be your friend. They just want to use what you have. And in the same regard that, like, if they do something for you, they expect you to do something back.
Yeah.
So, something like that.
The give and take, like, hey,
Yeah.
I paid for your lunch. You owe me lunch later.
Yeah.
But they're serious about it.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. Like, just a generally selfish person, probably not going to be a great friend.
Sure.
Yeah.
So think about maybe that best friend of yours. What's one of your favorite memories with them? I mean, Paul's was being 2 or 3 years old, and
2 or 3 years old.
I can't compete with that.
Yeah, so actually, that's what it was. It's like 2 or 3 years old, and we were in like the nursery at church, and our mothers, well, like me and Andrew were like the same age, obviously, and so we were in this nursery, and I have this vague memory of him, and we were both like on the floor crawling.
That's crazy.
Go back to that one.
Man, it would leave it to Paul. He would know.
Yeah.
He would remember something that far back. He's been that introspective since way back.
Nerd.
Yeah. How about you, Emily?
Yeah, I just remember when I first met her. She looks a lot different than me. I call her my punk friend. But I just like instantly put a bunch of stereotypes to her and was like, we're not gonna be friends. And And then just like I slowly got to know her, and we just hung out more and more. And I was like, all right, she's really cool. So I'm really glad that I got to meet her.
Yeah. Donnie and his wife Rachel, my wife Carrie and I got to go to Maui with them a couple years ago and spend a week together there.
Nice.
That was a lot of fun, and we've just gotten together every year, a couple different times a year, and just have a great time talking about life and experiences and sharing experiences. So, having great coffee, having great food.
There you go.
So, but experiencing life together and keeping up with each other. So, thinking about memories and good memories, I want to kind of transition into what we want to talk about today, is this idea of comparison and the trap of comparison. So there's several different angles that we're going to come at this from, but first of all, we want to kind of jump in and talk about comparing where we are now to our past. Comparing where we are to the memories of where we were and whether we liked that or not and that kind of thing. So Emily, I'm going to start with you. Talk to us a little bit about what's the danger of comparing myself to the way I used to be?
Yeah, the danger is you're no longer that person. You will never be that person again. So you're trying to compare yourself to someone, or maybe making that as your goal to be that person you were, and that goal is not achievable because you never will be that person again. You've lived an extended amount of life, depending on how far you're comparing yourself to. We'll say maybe it's like college years, and now you're like 30, mid-30s. You've lived a good 15 years since then, and a lot has happened to you. So you're not that person anymore. To look back and compare is just unrealistic.
So is it wrong that I would go back and reminisce of kind of how I was physically or mentally or in relationships or socially or things like that?
I think it's okay to reminisce, but not in a way that you're sad that you're no longer like that, or you feel bad about it because you can't run that quickly, or you don't have that six-pack anymore, or something like that. You can always look back on the positive of the memories and maybe look at the different things that you had, and maybe something that you could add to your life now that was like when you had it before.
Yeah. Paul, what about you? What would be maybe a positive thing to look at my past and where I was versus today, comparing that?
I mean, hopefully there's some changes that you can see in a positive direction. That's tough, though, sometimes to look back and be able to see changes in yourself. I don't know about you guys, but sometimes the tendency is to look back and go, the bad things are still, it's still bad. But sometimes you have to look back a little bit farther.
Yeah.
Hopefully, like you were saying, Emily, time has passed. You've lived. You've changed. Hopefully, there's pros and cons to everything in life, right? But hopefully there are some good things you can look at and see that you've changed and grown and matured and things like that.
I think I saw a quote that was, I can't remember the quote exactly, but the idea is that time is like a river. And if you stand in that river and then step out, like if you go back into that river, it's going to be different, and you're going to be different because you're not the same person that stepped in the river, and the river keeps moving, and it's not going to be the same, right? So
Yeah.
I can't recapture who I was necessarily in my 20s or in my teens or something like that. And in a lot of ways, I look back and I'm like, I wouldn't want to be in that situation, right? There's been different places in my life where, maybe I see a college student and we love having them in the gym. And at the same time, I'm like, man, there are things about college I do not miss, right? And my 11-year-old comes home from 6th grade and he's like, about homework, and it took him 5 minutes. And I'm like, I do not miss elementary school at all, right?
I'm going to butt in on that one.
Yeah.
So I feel like, again, there's pros and cons to everything in life. And so whatever phase of life you're in, you are probably enjoying something, and there's probably something you're not enjoying. And then a few years later, you look back and go, oh, those were the good old days. But at the time, you might not have enjoyed what you had going for you. So maybe one thing to do in the past when you look back is think of the things you might look back and go, these are some things that I wish I would have enjoyed then. And then look at the current and say, what are the things that I might look back, in 10 years and say, I wish I had enjoyed those things now.
Yeah. What's something right now that you're enjoying, both of you, that you're enjoying, that you are just kind of enjoying, like being present with and recognizing it now?
I'll go first because I have an easy one. Jameson was born a few months ago. And
Cheater.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to use it for everything. But it's fun hanging out with him. because he's only gonna be a baby once. So yeah, that's the one for me.
So yeah, instead of like complaining about him pooping and whining and
Yeah.
keeping you up at night, you're
Yeah.
thinking about how cool it is to hang out with him.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
How about you, Emily?
I mean, I enjoy lots of things. I guess maybe I enjoy my independence. I have a job that I can pay for my own things. I have a car and a bicycle. I can get places on my own. You know, I pay my own bills and I just like cook my own food. Whereas before, you know, in high school and a little bit younger, I didn't have any of that. So it's really nice to be able to do things for myself and be independent.
Yeah.
Aaron.
Now I have to be careful the questions I ask.
I know,
now
'cause
they're
they're
all
gonna
going to
come
get
back
asked
to
to
you.
me now. Spending time with Max, who's 11. He'll be 12 coming up next year, and I haven't always done a great job of paying attention to how he's moved and things like that. And then the last couple weeks, we've been somehow I end up in my phone like looking for something in old pictures, and it like my phone, if I hit the wrong button, it like takes me back 3 or 4 years, and I'm like, oh. But then you see little Max back there, and I'm like, oh, I remember when he was that and he did these things. So appreciating that process and appreciating the moments that we get together now, because he's on that verge of hitting those teenage years where they tell me that he's going to hate me, you know, or not value my time, you know, his time with me as much. So, you know, trying to capture those things, and then similarly being present in experiences that my family has together. So we went on vacation recently, my wife and I did, and so just being like doing my best to not have my phone out at all, because I'm really prone to checking emails or, you know, getting in and doing work on vacation or social media. Right, I'm in Maui and loving it, and then I'm still scrolling through. Like, why am I not appreciating the vacation that I, you know, spent money on to come show up to? So that kind of leads into the next piece where it's really easy to compare ourselves to other people on social media, to compare ourselves to other coaches, to compare ourselves to other gyms, to compare ourselves to other people that we may or may not know on social media. Talk to us about that, Trap. Like, is it good or bad that we have these opportunities to compare ourselves to other people?
And even in person.
And in person, right.
You know. Emily, you got a thought?
I think it's good and bad.
How so? How
Tell us more.
How was it good?
Oh, that's all I had. I think I'll go with the good because it's a little bit shorter. It's good to see people around you and on social media that maybe have something that you want. Maybe they are, they look a little bit fitter than you. So now you have something that like, oh, I can do these things. I can get better, and maybe I will look like that. I also think that's a negative because that's a different person. And so you're comparing yourself to a completely different person. You don't know what they do. You don't know their history. You don't know if they have a professional chef or something, you know, cooking all their food and weighing everything. So that's kind of the negative part of it, is you're comparing yourself to something that you will never be, and that's somebody else. So I think it's positive because it encourages people to maybe improve something that they inside of them are thinking like, I should probably eat better. And then they see someone else that they think eats better, right? And so maybe they fix something. So I think that's a good way to maybe like get people to jumpstart, but then eventually recognizing that that's also a bad thing. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
How
about you, Paul?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the benefit of it is that you can use it to create an ideal or a goal or something like that. But then maybe that's where that comparison should end. So it's either that's somebody in person that you know or something on social media or whatever. Look at people, see what you appreciate about somebody else or wish more so was what your life was like, and then stop looking at them and start looking at yourself and say, okay, do I have a new goal? How can I move toward that goal?
Yeah, I would say it's very, very dangerous. I think in my opinion, it's very dangerous to look at other people either in person or on social media and say, I want to look like that. And I think it's good to ask yourself, if tomorrow I could flip a switch and I looked like that, would I be happy? Would I be filled with joy? Would I be fulfilled? And it's if it's not something that, most of the time, it's probably not something that you're going to be super fulfilled in. And the amount of sacrifice and the amount of time and the amount of resources and effort that have to go into something like that may have actually been the thing that makes that other person fulfilled. But there's plenty of successful people or people that look fitter than us that actually aren't very happy. So if you really have to sit down and wrestle with and kind of be still with yourself and say, if I got that today, would I feel fulfilled? Would it be something that really filled me with joy? That's what I would say.
I agree with that.
Yeah, it's kind of like as you were talking, I was thinking about something else, but no, like in the
Something else.
like
Cool.
in the same lines, but in class we have people from all different experiences of CrossFit, and someone who's new coming in and competing against other people and trying to see, hey, like they're lifting that much weight, I want to lift that much weight, and we're like, no, maybe don't. You're newer or whatever. Take it off for a second. If they were to lift that much weight, or like you said, flip that switch, and all of a sudden be that strong, they would have missed those 3 years of CrossFit, of the community and the struggle and the building and all the achievements, the little achievements that person made to get there. And I think that's really important, is what you're talking about, is that journey that you're going to miss out on. If you compare yourself to somebody else, you flip a switch, you're going to miss out on the struggle that actually makes that person stronger than maybe what you see visually. Internal strength, can't really see that on Instagram. So.
Yeah, how many times have you like built something up in your mind, like Christmas Day, or maybe as a kid, or your birthday, or a vacation or something like that, and then when it's over, there's just kind of like this letdown, like, oh man, it's over.
Yeah, I got this 6-pack. Well, no, what am I supposed to do with it?
Exactly. If there's always if it's everything's about the goal, that goal line always moves, right?
Yeah.
It's forever moving. Yeah. And so it's great to have goals. It's important to have goals. Just know that that's going to continue to move. And so you have to really fall in love with the process of reaching those goals. And you can continue to move that goal line.
Yeah,
celebrate those goals, right?
Yeah.
Celebrate the first down. Celebrate the next first down. But, it's not a touchdown. You're not going to score a touchdown every time.
And then the game isn't just over.
Right.
It's still going.
Right. And,
we're referencing football right now. Phil's not even here.
That was basketball.
Oh.
But the idea that, you're going to have to keep battling and fall in love with the process of getting better or working towards the goal, not the goal itself.
Yeah.
And I think that's another way that social media allows us to connect in ways that we didn't used to, we weren't able to before. And, that's great in that we can see what is possible, and then it's also bad in that we can see what is possible, and we want it to see it now, right? Like I can open my phone right now, and I can see people that are fit. I can see people that are working out. I can see people that are in Hawaii. I can see people all over the place, and that's awesome to share that experience with, But at the same time, I also, I want that now, and then that sets up this kind of discord in my soul about. Not having the same things that everybody else does.
Yeah. And what you don't see is however many years it took those people to get there.
Absolutely.
And the habits that every day they had to put in place to get there. And that's something that I've personally been thinking about quite a bit for myself, is what are my habits? And then part of that is like, where are my goals and where am I trying to go with it? But in order to get to my goal, I have to have certain habits in place. And I think maybe that is where, as they say, the rubber meets the road. So that's where you can actually get some work done, is look around, compare yourself to some people, and then see what you admire, what you look up to, make a goal, and then it's like, okay, what kind of habits are going to get me to this other spot? And stop looking at those other people. Look at yourself, look at their habits, and see what you can do.
Yeah, you can also ask those other people. Oh. So if they're on social media or in person, and you get kind of a goal from them, ask them how they got there, and maybe they'll have some good tips for you too.
That's a good idea.
And then maybe you might realize that that's not the goal you wanted.
Yeah, you're like, I want to actually eat food and have a life outside of the gym or something like that too. So yeah.
Nothing's for free. It takes something to get anywhere you want to go. So you got to decide if it's worth it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I got one.
Okay,
so
good.
Yeah, you do.
I had a
too.
question. I've lost it twice.
Well,
but go ahead.
no, you go first. You always make me go first.
Okay. Well, I was gonna say, like, so we work at a CrossFit gym, and there are So basically 3 questions that I was going to ask. So
I
it would
only
be
had one. Oh my
all right.
God.
So maybe
No,
you go
no,
first.
you go.
and
No,
I'll
no,
back
you
up.
go.
All right. So there's the area of exercise, nutrition, and then you could just say lifestyle is the third piece of it. Do either of you have a suggestion for a simple habit that would probably be beneficial or useful for most people in each of those areas? Nutrition, exercise, and just lifestyle in general. What comes to mind?
Let's do nutrition first.
That's a good idea.
We'll just go.
Eat more vegetables.
Drink more water.
Eat more vegetables. If you're wondering what you should eat, I used to tell my students in one of my classes, if you're not sure what class to study for, when you're bored on a Saturday night, this is the class. If you're
There you
hungry
go.
and you're not sure what to eat, pick up a vegetable and eat it.
Yeah,
eat
that's
it
a really
raw,
good idea.
eat it cooked, whatever you need to do. Eat more vegetables. Same thing with thirst, I think.
Yeah, drinking
Drink
water.
more water. If in doubt, drink some water. Yeah, I agree.
How about
Yeah.
you? Your nutrition tip.
I'm gonna
Eat meat.
contradict you.
Ah.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say eat some food. Build your meal around some protein. So you can decide
Yeah,
what your
no, that's
protein
good.
should be, but basically, if you have some vegetable and something that is rich in protein, it's gonna help satisfy you, your hunger, and it's gonna be pretty nutritious. So
I don't think that contradicts.
not really.
Yeah.
It goes
Nah.
with it.
Yeah.
All right, so exercise? The
Yeah.
next one, exercise?
Yeah.
You want to go first this time?
Yeah, I'll go slow. I mean, that was my answer. Go slow. I'll go first. To slow down and get the movements and techniques and whatever you're doing down first before you go fast. Because if you just go fast and you don't have those things, you're going to spend a lot of time backtracking with injuries or lack of strength or lack of something else. So I say go slow.
I like it. Fundamentals first. What's yours?
I'm gonna say this every time on every podcast. Breathe through your nose. Okay, but here's the deal. Try to breathe through your nose during warm-ups. Just start with the warm-up and see if you can get kind of comfortable with it, and then go from there.
I like it.
Okay.
I'm going to try doing that with my warm-ups now.
All right.
I tried to do
That's
it in
the
a couple
place to
workouts.
start.
It's
Yeah,
tough.
workouts,
It's
too
tough.
much. But if you can get used to it in the warm-up, go
I
from
feel like I
there.
need to get those breathe right strips to open my,
It's not a bad
my
idea.
nose,
Yeah.
my nose up. I might have to try that.
It's not a bad idea.
Mine is move every day.
Ooh,
So
I
it
like
doesn't
that.
have to be fast every day. It doesn't have to be long every day. But you should move with purpose every day.
Yeah.
So whether that's with weight training or if you go on a walk over lunchtime or, if you're walking through the grocery store, walk with purpose. Make other people get out of your way with your cart.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Have your list.
There should
Map
be
it out in your head where you
little-
got to go.
Little swirls of dust behind
Yeah,
you. 'Cause
how
you're going.
fast can
you're
you go?
going.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
mine.
I like that.
Move with purpose every day.
Okay. What about just
Physically.
general lifestyle outside of exercise and nutrition? What's something you could do every day to be a better person? Emily's got one. She's ready to
Go ahead,
roll.
Emily.
I just have so many. This is maybe not the best one, but it's one. As far as lifestyle, surround yourself with good, positive people. If you do that every day, they're bound to rub off on you in some way or another.
I like that.
So
Yeah.
that's what I got.
Take 15 minutes every day and just think. Just think. And so a way to facilitate that would be sit somewhere where you're not going to be distracted with a TV or a phone or family or friends. It's okay if you have music on or something like that that's going to let your mind just kind of wander. And another way to facilitate that is to just have a blank pad of paper or a notebook and just write everything that comes to your mind. And you don't have to put it in full sentences. You don't have to punctuate it. You don't have to format it. Just let it go all the way down. Just write straight through, right?
Mm-hmm.
I had a friend of mine who said, he draws a line down the right side of the paper, leaves a little, like a column, and writes and writes and writes and writes and writes. And then he'll go back and he'll start marking where things turn to negative and kind of keep track of just kind of trying to see how your mind just kind of weaves through different things. And don't try to solve it. We're just writing everything out. We're just emptying our head onto the page. And that helps clear your mind out. And so sitting down and actually just thinking and just letting your mind kind of dump onto the paper.
So you should just get it out, knowing you can always go back and
Fix it if you need to.
fix it later. But
Yep,
for now,
if
just
you
get
need
it out
to.
there. I like that.
Yeah,
That's a
just
really
get
good
it
one.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that that's a good thing to do before you go to bed. It's just the mind dump.
Yeah.
You know, that way you're not laying and thinking about anything. You just get it all done, and then you can go to sleep.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, see if you can get 1 more hour of sleep.
Hey, look at that transition.
Smooth.
Sweet.
You want to be better? Get another hour of sleep. That's all there is to it.
I think it's fun. I guess it was probably about a year ago where I started to pay attention on my phone. I would set the bedtime to, I need to go to bed at X, at this time, and I want 7 or 7.5 hours of sleep, and just playing with how many hours I actually felt like I felt rested afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
And mine's, depending on what's happened through the week, it's somewhere between 7 and 8 for me personally.
Yeah.
I've heard people that need that 9 or 10.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard people that claim that they can, function on 4 or 5. Wouldn't suggest that.
That's how you know when they're lying.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's like 1/10%. So
Yeah.
it's not. So if somebody says it's me, it's not them.
It's possible, but it's improbable.
Yeah, it's really
Yeah.
improbable.
Yeah. You had a question, Emily. What's yours?
Well,
Yeah.
it wasn't a question. It was more a serious comment or reflection that has somehow slipped. So if we have something else, maybe I'll come back to
No,
it.
Oh,
let's do
okay,
it.
got it. Oh, she said she can't remember, basically.
Oh, well, yeah.
Are you saying you can't remember? Or you
Yeah,
do?
maybe I'll just talk through it.
Okay.
We're talking about comparing and comparing to yourself or to other people. Sometimes people, even in like a shorter amount of time, I'll take myself for example. Maybe like 6 months ago, I felt like, oh, I was in really good shape. I was lifting all the weights. I was beating everybody in the workouts. This is true, by the way. And then
True story.
true story. And now that's not the case, right? And so it's like, okay, I'm comparing myself to back then. I'm going to class. I'm not finishing workouts. I'm not PRing. Kind of how to focus on that mindset, because I know it's not just me. Some people go through injuries, or they go through someone passes away, or something happens that they get out of the rhythm in a short amount of time, and comparing themselves to just this summer is really difficult, because they're like, well, not like it shouldn't have made that big of a difference. So it's not really a question, it's just a comment. Like, it happens, and I will say sort of what I thought of to do as we were talking here is to just take one day at a time and try to be the best version of yourself and give your best effort that day, and not even compare to yesterday or anything like that. What do you guys think about that?
Do it.
Yeah. So especially when we are going to lift heavy, or we're going to PR, like that's coming up, right? We're supposed to retest here soon. And I'll tell people, hey, if you feel good today, go for it. But a lot of factors go into what's your sleep been like, what's the stressors in your family or at work and school, and what all's going on. Like, you can't, it's kind of like, I've heard some people say that weight is just your relationship with gravity at any given moment. And there's so many factors that go in with, like, I could weigh myself in the morning versus the afternoon versus the evening, and I'll weigh different, because of the different factors throughout the day. And I think that's life cycle on a macro level. It's the same way. Whatever was happening this summer was you're in a different place than where you are now. And it doesn't mean that you're worse or worse off. It's just different.
Yeah.
Other factors have played into that.
And whether you're at your top, or if you feel like you're in a valley for you, basically your next step is going to be the same. It's going to be do something that is tough for you today or tomorrow. It's going to be, but how tough does it need to be? Something that was really tough for you when you're at the top of the hill is going to crush you today if you're at the bottom of the valley. So it's just got to be a little bit of a reach today.
Yeah.
Just
So
keep
like,
chipping away.
since we're PRing the next couple weeks, and this was like a 6-8 week cycle or something, I guess speaking to our athletes who maybe go and lift that bar and they can't even pull the number they pulled before, what are some tips moving forward through the next cycle that they can kind of focus on, and so they don't get down on themselves?
I would lead with questions probably to the athlete and say, how many classes did you come to versus how many did you miss? How many times, if you missed, how many times did you miss when we did this specific lift? How did you treat your body on the weekend versus in the week? Because a lot of us, the weekend is where the trap is, right? We eat different, we sleep different, we don't work out or don't work out as much, or we work out different. So I think I would start with questions, kind of, what's going on. Secondly, I would maybe change change how we measure success. So if you're not PRing, it doesn't mean you're not getting better. With some of my team training this last week, we talked about, hey, I didn't do as many sets, or I didn't do as many reps at this weight, and I had to drop weight to something lighter. And I said, okay, but if you take the amount of reps that you did times the weight for each of those reps, that's the weight that you moved, right? And so you actually moved more weight than last week, even though you went at a lighter weight and you put up more reps, right? So you're building muscle. So it's not like that last 6 or 8 week cycle is wasted, because you've been putting work in, and it doesn't mean that you're instantly going to see results. And this is kind of going back to when we look at other people and we say, oh man, they've got that 500-pound deadlift, or 600-pound deadlift. I watch Mark Geist deadlift, and that dude is strong. Or I watch him back squat, and I'm like, I would kill for, to have that back squat.
But would you?
I don't know who. It depends on who I would have to kill, I guess. No, but like I'm jealous of that back squat, but it took him years to get there. He didn't start squatting that, and he went through probably these down cycles where he went through a strength cycle. Like, why am I not PRing? Sorry. Why am I not PRing? And so
exactly. I don't have anything to add.
You would ask good questions too.
I'll add something.
Okay.
So something that you can think about is the way you're going to get stronger is that moment after you didn't PR, and then the steps that you take from there. You keep coming to the gym, you maybe focus on something a little bit better, and then you're probably going to actually be stronger than if you did PR, because you had that maybe little cool failure or something. So you start doing things that are going to make you better in the long run. So.
Katrin David's daughter.
Yeah. Should make that rope climb.
But then won the games twice in a row, right?
Yeah. So maybe don't PR next week and then go to the games.
And then you have that fire inside,
Yeah.
Just know
I got one.
suck.
If you're not PRing, you probably just need to work on nose breathing during your warm-ups. Warm up from
And having
the
better
inside
nutrition, let's be honest.
No, I don't know.
And sleep more.
Yeah.
Sleep more. You maybe would have
that is
PR'd if
something
you
to
journaled.
consider. Yeah, that is something to consider. If you don't PR one day and you expected that you would, take a look back at the last 3 nights of sleep, and if it's a little less than you're used to, that's part of it. What?
So in Wodify, when you guys do workouts, in your comments, you should comment how much sleep you got.
Ooh,
And your nutrition. And that way when you look back, you can be like, oh, wow, I was really rested that day and I've been up all night. So that way you kind of have an idea.
Because it's not always fair comparing back to your old times.
We put in, how you scaled it, or that workout was terrible or felt good or whatever. Maybe just add in there how much you slept that day. And if you ate or not ate or something.
Perfect example of this would be the open for me when we had to do handstand push-ups. And it was a repeat workout with that pre-Diana, and then there were handstand walks that I knew I wasn't going to get to. And I was like, I just want to get more handstand push-ups than I did 2 years ago when we did this. And I got 0 handstand push-ups. And I was like, oh, for real? I was kind of frustrated. And that, led me to start doing a lot more overhead pressing so I can build strength for that and start building towards that. But also realizing that my training had really taken a nosedive since 2 years ago. I hadn't been working out as consistently as I had been 2 years ago. My nutrition wasn't in the same place as it was 2 years ago. Can I bring it back to there? Yeah, I probably can. I can pay more attention to what I'm eating, right? I can keep track, and I can do a lot more pressing so that I'm building that base strength that I need to be able to do that.
And that's what you're doing. I've seen you in the gym a lot more. I see what you eat for lunch or for breakfast, depending on the time of day. And so it's cool. Maybe if that didn't happen, you wouldn't have made those changes.
Yep,
so.
absolutely.
True. And I'm going to add one thing. For ladies, consider where you are in your monthly cycle. That has a pretty big impact on how that's what I hear. I don't know for sure, but
it's these pink headphones. He's telling him all the things.
I've heard where you are in your cycle
headphones.
is going to change how you feel on different types of workouts. Some days it'll be the strength that feels more difficult. Sometimes it'll be the conditioning style stuff. So just keep that in mind. Cut yourself some slack sometimes.
That's a good tip.
Also put that in the comments. I'm on my period.
Yeah.
You don't have to do that.
But hey, I don't know.
Also,
Paul says to do it.
Just so everybody knows, on Wodify, when you record your result, there is a little padlock that you can lock it or unlock it. So that allows other people to see your result or not see your result. So
Oh.
if you sometimes do not record your results because you, for whatever reason, who knows what your reason is, but don't really want other people to see how you did on that workout or your comment or whatever it is, just lock the lock. And then you can keep track for yourself how things are going. But maybe not everybody has to see everything that you type
Nice.
to yourself.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's
Click that
great.
little
So
lock,
you
I
can
think.
put your emotional review of the day and
Yes.
then lock it.
Yep. I was
I like
sad
it.
all day and I couldn't deadlift heavy. There you go.
Well, you got anything else before we
I'm
go?
out. I'm out of words.
That was good.
Yeah, I like that one. Thanks everybody for joining us for CrossFit Lincoln Connections. Thanks to Ronnie and Levi and RoboFlix and the other guy, I never remember his name.
And the lady.
Yeah. So join us next time. If you want to reach out to us, info@crossfitlincoln.com or check us out at crossfitlincoln.com. Thanks everybody.
Bye.
Thanks.